All right. Kind of expected news. Yu Darvish, he's not going to be starting the season for the Padres. He will be on the IL. You see in this tweet here from Dennis Lin. Yu Darvish expected to open the season on the injured list. Kyle Hart, Stephen Kolek, and Randy Vasquez are competing for 2 opening day rotation spots. One of those 3 will start the season in AAA El Paso's rotation. If I had to guess who it would be that would start the season in AAA, if it's not about pitch count and the load, I think it would be Vasquez that would start down there. He has big league experience. Now, maybe that's like saying that's helping his case. Like, hey, beginning of the year, bring Vasquez up. He started 20 plus games for the Padres last year. Familiar, right? Do that. That's safer. But for me, Kolek, Hart as the 4-5, not literally, because Pavetta, based on scheduling, he'll probably pitch the 4th or the 5th game of the season for the Padres out of the gate. But you get what I'm saying. Is the talented guys in the rotation. It's King, it's Cease, it's Pavetta, and then if it's Kolek and Hart, for me, it's like hopefully Darvish isn't going to be out too long. So one of them wouldn't be in the rotation when Darvish comes back, and it's not going to be very long. But you signed Hart to a major league deal. You're having Kolek build up as a starter, and you like what you're seeing out of Kolek. Give him the shot. If it doesn't work out, you have the Vasquez backup option. Where if Vasquez doesn't work out of the gate, you don't know where you're getting, coming from El Paso with whoever one of the 3 that doesn't make the roster. It could be a situation where, let's say Kolek struggles, or, let's say Kolek struggles, just as the example. He doesn't work. They bring Vasquez up. He struggles. But at least Vasquez has shown the ability, even when he hasn't, shut out his opponent, can still go 4 or 5 innings and somehow keep the Padres in the game. The Padres have seen that from him. So that's my point, is like, test it. Hart, Kolek, you're believing in them enough to build them up and give them these starts late in this Cactus League. Let's see what they got. And then if it doesn't work, you can go to someone like Randy Vasquez. So that's what I would do. But as for Darvish, not surprising. He was supposed to throw on Thursday, but he ended up not throwing on Thursday. So that was alarming, where it's like, oh, okay, well, what happened with the plan? Something happened. So he's not, it doesn't seem like he's recovering as well as they would have liked. And so they're going to give him some time here to rest a little bit. And then hopefully he'll be ready to go, maybe at the beginning of May, maybe late April. I'm reading from Kevin Acee here. I'm trying to find where he said that Darvish likely would miss, or they're hoping that he misses only like a couple times through the rotation. Schilt says he's in a rest phase, going to go a couple more days, just give it a little bit of a rest, work on some other things physically, and then reboot. We'll determine that as it goes, but just taking a little break from playing catch and go from there. He's had elbow discomfort. I mean, this is worthy to note. Elbow discomfort in each of his 4 seasons with the Padres. The Padres were planning, I'm reading here again from Kevin, they were planning on limiting his workloads at times this year because they want him to be good, come postseason time. There's no timetable for when he throws again or pitches in a game. It seems likely Darvish will miss at least a couple turns through the rotation. Even if he were to resume playing catch early next week, he would need at least a couple bullpen sessions before what would likely be at least 2 minor league starts before joining the Padres. So if that's the case, catch early next week, then let's say there's a bullpen late next week, then there's another one, then he makes a start beginning of April, 4th or 5th maybe, 6th or 7th, and then another start 11th and 12th maybe. and then he comes back. Let's say that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 17th, 18th, or 19th, maybe, like at the earliest. So that's what we're looking at right now. Obviously, not what we want to hear, but I'd rather have this be happening now. And even if, let's say, worst case, he ends up having Tommy John and needing it. It's the beginning of the season. There's time before the trade deadline, obviously. It opens up, if you want, glass half full this, it's opportunities for Kyle Hart, Stephen Kolek, Randy Vasquez to make starts and prove that they can be in this rotation. Make a name for themselves for this Padres team and a be sort of like a Matt Waldron from last year. Be key to why the Padres end up making the postseason. So you can look at it that way. And again, I like that it's March 21st that this is happening, not July 21st or August 21st. So I'm trying to look at this, optimistically, but should we be surprised by it? I'm not talking about this news because we've seen it building up here now over the last week or whatever, but just Darvish in general. He's going to be 39 this year. How many innings, how many pitches thrown are on that arm? I don't care how well you take care of yourself as a pitcher, and I have no doubt that Darvish does. But when you have 1,706 major league innings on you, and that doesn't count spring training innings in your career, postseason innings, I don't think that counts on Baseball Reference. When you just look up his numbers there, it might, but still, doesn't matter. It's a lot of innings. And with the amount of pitches that he throws, the amount of times he throws the breaking ball, does that help him in outings? Of course it does. But as you get up there in age and you continue to have this elbow stuff happening year after year and these IL stints, Father Time eventually is going to win. And so when the Padres signed him to this contract through his age, 42 season, I don't think that they were expecting him to finish this contract anyway. It was more of an AAV type thing to lower that. And Darvish was obviously fine with that. But when you sign with that contract, you have to know that this is going to come at some point. I'm not saying Tommy John. We'll see what happens there. Obviously, we hope that doesn't happen. But I'm talking about elbow inflammation. I'm talking about soreness, or no, not soreness, tightness in that elbow, which is what Schilt talked about, I think, earlier in the week. You had to expect that this was going to come. So I don't think people in the Padres organization would be super surprised by what's happening right now. And I'm just looking at it like, it's good timing. You never want this to happen. You don't want a pitcher to be shut down, especially when it's Darvish. But let's remember that it's March 21st and it's not August 21st or September or July, where you feel like you think you're going to have Darvish and then, all of a sudden, the deadline's coming up and what are you going to do? So obviously we'll see how this situation develops, how Darvish recovers, or maybe he doesn't. But no Musgrove, no Waldron to start the year. Obviously, remember the oblique. He, I believe, is still resting. He hasn't had a bunch of activity. It doesn't seem like when listening to Schilt. So the pitching depth has taken a hit, but I am still excited to see Kolek and Hart, see what they can do at the big league level, assuming both make it. And if they don't make it, if both don't make it, because one of them will, then the other guy can stay ready down in AAA, and let's see what Randy Vasquez can do. Is he going to be better? Attack that strike zone, be a little bit less inconsistent. There are still things to look forward to, and there's still Michael King, Dylan Cease, and Nick Pivetta in this rotation. The majority of the rotation is still in pretty darn good hands. And then hopefully the rest of it is as well.